Hello everybody and welcome to Sword Art Online, Alicization, War of Underworld, whatever episode we're on, 40 overall, or Alicization overall 40. I think we're on 16 War of Underworld and part 2, episode 4. This episode, for all the heroes on pretty much all the fronts, everything kind of goes a bit wonky, you know. By wonky, I mean pretty damn terrible. There's loads of stuff going on. Higo got shot. And bloody the Shater and Iskan, they actually probably had it the best. Asna's lot, they're not doing great either. Is there another front that I'm forgetting about? Probably. There was a fourth thing. There was a thing. We'll talk to that when we get to it. But yeah, I'm loving this season, despite the bit of dodgy stuff going on. Like the bit early on with Sinon, like. Why do that? You don't need to do that, Mr. Gabriel Miller, Subtilizer Man. Just do what you did before with the screwdriver. You don't need all this extra stuff you're doing. But yeah, no, I'm really enjoying it. I think it's a really good finale. But there's an arc after this. Really don't get that. How the hell are you going to top this for a final arc? Whatever your opinions on SAO are, they're piling everything into this final arc. Like, things are coming back from previous arcs. How? That's not what it's about. This video is about this episode. But anyway, let's crack on with the episode. We begin with Higo, who is being held at gunpoint with that guy called Yanai. So, this dude, Yanai, he is carrying on Sugo's legacy. Sugo, if you don't remember who he is, in the first season, the Fairy Dance arc, he was King Oberon. Remember that dickhead who was trying to get Asuna to marry him, but she was in a coma, so he couldn't really? Kirito stabs him through the eye in the game and then stabs him by the knife in real life, but doesn't kill him because Kirito's a wimp. That guy, this guy basically is this guy's second in command. Turns out, right, this scene, not justified, but it flipping explained why a scene existed to me. So you remember way back in season 1, right? Those slime monsters that had tentacle fun with Asuna in the Fairy Dance arc? God, mate, I'm starting to see why people hate that arc now. Yeah, it all makes sense. It's starting to make sense to me. I actually quite like it. The good stuff, not the bit we're talking about today, the tentacle stuff. So that dude who did the tentacle stuff is this guy Yanai. That blew my mind. I was like, oh my god, they've brought it back. How have they done this? And that's who this guy is. Crazy, insane stuff. Did not see that coming at all. There's more crazy stuff revolving around this guy later on. Like, for a guy that just got introduced, this guy had a lot to do with the story. Let's just say that much. At first I thought he might be a member of Laughing Coffin. But no, that's not what it is. I'll just say that now. If for some reason you're watching this and not the episode, no, he's not a Laughing Coffin member. He is the mole. The Wrath Mole who's been giving the information to the Americans. Basically, he's the reason this whole thing has kicked off in the first place. Kirito could have just defeated Administrator and be done with it, but no, because of this Wrath Mole. So, yeah, he's to blame for War of Underworld. Or to thank, because has it been the best arc? I want to say it's been the best arc, just because it's been so fan-servicey not in the, like, nudity sense, in the sense of, look at all these characters coming and fighting. Yeah, they're all big, massive team up, you know, that essence. So, do we thank him? Or do we hate him? I mean, in universe we'll hate him, but out of universe, we're like, thank God that guy did that. You know, Higo drops his laptop. He like loses his grip on it because he's panicking. He might get shot, and then there's a gunshot go off. So Higo is now dead, probably. Feels bad. Kind of liked Higo. He was a cool dude, but he will be missed. Back to the Underworld we go now, and Sinon is where we go next. So Subtilizer actually remembers Sinon from that time he choked her out in the B.O.B. and said that her soul will taste really nice. So, I mean, there are worse ways to be remembered, I guess, Sinon. So, unfortunately though, more unfortunately, he wants to eat her soul again. Don't really get his eating soul thing. I'd like it to be a bit better explained. All we really know is he ate a soul once of his childhood friend, and it tasted good, and now he just does that. Like, okay, but why can he eat souls? Like, I'm gonna need a little bit more, and why only sometimes? Like, what are the requirements for eating a soul? I need to know this. It's the one part of this arc, the War of Underworld arc, I don't quite get. But it's fine, because there's a big old war going on, and war arcs are generally pretty good. Even a bad war arc is a good war arc, if you know what I mean. So yeah, Sinon, because she got choked out, you know, makes sense. She starts having a little bit of a panic attack. I think that's the only nice way to say it. And like, as I said, justified, because she got proper choked out. Video game or no, he was doing it for reals, you know. So he pulls her closer with his force powers that I guess he has now. I thought he imported his GGO account. Why does he have dark powers still? You know, don't quite get that. Is he still got vector admin like ability rights on his Subtilizer account? Not too sure. Would like that to know that. But yeah, then things get, should we say weird? Weird might be a polite way of putting it. We'll say weird, just for, I don't know, YouTube's sake, I guess, so they don't ban me. Yeah, pulls Sinon real close, and then he tries to kiss her, because he wants to eat her soul, and he's gonna take more than just her soul. And yeah, I don't get it either. I don't really get his motivations for things sometimes. Like, why is he being rapey? Like, that's, I don't want to use the word, but why is he doing it? You know, it could have just been like, yes, I'm gonna eat soul. They could have done away with that. It could have just been, let's get Alice out of the machine. Like that. That's all you needed, really. It is the one thing I think SAO rightfully gets a lot of criticism for, is it's just rapey villains. All of them. Not all of them, but a lot of them, you know. When you go through the list and you actually go through all the villains, it's like, oh crap, there is more than there should be, you know. Write a villain that's not pleased. Like Administrator. She was an exhibitionist, but she didn't do nothing. Oh, Yu-Gi-Oh! He was into it. It's fine. Back to the episode, right? So Sinon, you know, while I've been talking, she's been, you know, on the verge. But thankfully, a giant light comes from her necklace that she's wearing. Again, kind of want to know how this stuff keeps happening. Like, I like it. When I read the light novel, I'll probably like it way more, because it's like, oh, this is why this is here, you know? It's incarnation, boom. But because, you know, the anime probably is cutting all that, it doesn't make sense. Basically, it's the chest thing? Chest probe? What do you call the thing? Electrode, that's what they're called. Like the Pokemon. You know, when Kirito got stabbed the first time on the injection thing, the thing that saved his life, basically. In the Phantom Bullet arc, like I said, we're going back and forth all the arcs now. So yeah, that set is on Sinon's necklace. They sort of imply that she got it when she met up with Kirito, I think is what they were implying. And like, he saves her again, because in the process of meeting, he gave her that, I guess. That's sort of what I got from it. Again, doesn't make complete sense, but I can look past it because symbolism? That's what the root thing I'm trying to, that's what I'm going to go with. And then the bow transforms into the Hecate from GGO, and she has a sniper rifle now, and Subtilizer also has a gun. She shoots his hand at one point. Then he has a pistol that looks like a laser gun, and it transforms into a rifle. Yeah, when I'm saying it out loud, they didn't explain what the hell was going on in this scene. Like, I liked the stuff that was happening. I just needed them to say, oh, it's Incarnation, the Incarnate system. Boom. Done. Or flipping Yui airdropped it in from GGO. I would have been fine with that as well. Just an explanation would have been... Maybe it's coming. Maybe it hasn't come yet. Maybe it's in the next part with them. But yeah, would have liked to know a little bit more what's going on. But then they get to fighting, but we're not going to see them for the rest of the episode. That is the one downside of having so many fronts for the war arc, is you kind of go between them a lot. I quite like that, because it's, you know, there's a lot going on, and I like it. But yeah, so Sinon and Subtilizer are about to have a snipe fight, I guess. Hopefully Sinon gets some revenge. Although then, what's Kirito going to do? Because Vector account's dead, Subtilizer account's dead. Does he have a third account? Is he secretly Thinker from season 1? Probably not. I wouldn't know. I don't think he is. But anyway, let's continue. We to Asuna and Koa are still fighting their mission, I guess, protect the Underworld people whatever the cost, because if they die for real. You remember that scene in season 1, I think? It was definitely season 1, it was in the SAO, when they were like, let's use the NPCs as bait, because, you know, it doesn't matter if they die. And now it's like completely flipped. It's like, oh no, we're the bait now. We need to keep the NPCs, and I'm doing quotations in case you looked away for a minute, NPCs Let's keep them alive, you know? And it's the part where they're fighting Sheep Tar, if I remember. That's the abridged, isn't it? That part, people probably know the abridged better anyway. So Sakia, being great leader she is, she's got this whole plan, this formation going with the Sylph troops. And then because she's not a good leader, it turns out, she lets Emotion take over because Alicia Rue is pinned down, she's about to be killed. And then Sakia, to be fair, she kills like 12 dudes on the path to her and like doing this twirly-whirly move with the katana. Don't know what to call it, it's a twirly-whirly now. And yeah, but then no, she gets shanked in the like ribs or just below the ribs. She gets killed basically. And it's kind of weird that the red players, when they die straight away. Like they just film and they're gone. But Sakia, she was writhing in pain, and then her body was laying there till it cut away, you know. So what's up with that? But hey, that's an important character death in quotes, out of a war basically. I know it's not a proper death, but she felt it. She felt like she was dying. So is that dying? Is it still dying if you don't die? That's the real question. But then yeah, Sleeping Knights we go to now. Love that they're going all over the place. I keep saying it. Sinon, who is the blue-haired one, the maturer one, I don't know what to call her, Asuna's friend, that one, her bestie. She's got a plan, so the Sleeping Knights break her way through for her, and her plan is just talk. Just talk. Tell them you're being deceived, and that's what she does. The players that end up listening to her are Moonphase and May, who we met last week when they logged in. They were like apparently the two like foreign players that have brains, apparently, like that are like, oh, you know what, this doesn't seem quite right. Just two people, one from China, one from Korea, you know. Everyone else there doesn't know, can't figure out they're being tricked. But those two, they're smart. Unfortunately, though, fortunately it's going quite well. Everyone's starting like, oh, you know, that does start to make sense. But then Push shows up and is like, we have no need for traitors. You will die. And then they're all like, yeah, the dude in the clearly evil-looking hood, he's a great guy. I'm sure he's telling the truth. Sione gets shanked at one point. Thankfully, again, Moonphase and May, they are like, oh crap, are you okay? You know, they're smart enough to not fall for Puh. Don't know if they are just stupid or if there's incarnate going on. Like, that's the other thing about Underworld is, you know, the anime especially hasn't explained incarnate too well. Like, when Kirito got his cloak in the first half, they didn't really explain what that was. It's incarnate. So whenever something happens that's not quite easy to explain, I just kind of assume it's the incarnate system at this point. Or incarnation. Flipping Excel World and Sword Art having very similar terms, but being slightly different. Although they're basically the same in this case. I'll just flip between them. It's fine. So you only get shanked and everything. Puh convinced players. They're in trouble. Those three are like in the middle of all the players. Like, they would die. Like, what I was trying to say is Puh had this like aura around him, so it's the aura the thing that's convincing them being incarnate. That's what I was trying to say. Or is he just a really charismatic leader? That's how cults get started. Laughing Coffin was basically a cult though, wasn't it? Yeah, it was. Short section here, which is nice because I've been talking for a while. Shater and Iskan, right, they're on their last legs. Look, they're properly surrounded. Don't know why they didn't fly off on the dragon that was right behind them. Like, I'm sure the soldiers would have been, not the soldiers, like the pugilists would have been like, boss, you and your waifu, you escape and we will hold them off. Thankfully, didn't need to do that though, because who comes to save the day out of bloody nowhere? It's Leafa and Lil Pillin. He brought the other dudes, the orcs as well. Are they orcs? I think they're orcs. Brought all them as well, and they're just like, we're here to help you because we're friends and comrades. Yeah, it doesn't matter if you're human or an orc or a goddamn whatever. We're all friends here and we're going to fight. And then Leafa's like, yeah, but you guys are from the Underworld. You die for real if you die and I don't. So I'm going to fight this army by myself. And I'm just sitting there like, is she actually going to fight the army by herself? I hope so. That would redeem her after her, you know, tentacling in her entrance. So if she takes out a whole army by herself, that's going some way to redeeming herself, you know, and being cool. Because Leafa gets looted enough. Just let her do a cool thing. Let her take out a whole army by herself. That'd be awesome. Oh god, what if she picks up a second sword and is like, I'm not as good as Big Bro, but I can two-sword too. That'd be pretty cool. I was going to say take Shaters, but Shaters kind of exploded. It didn't explode, it just dissolved. Whatever, Leafa is going to do cool things. Back to the real world we go now. Smoke grenades going off to buy them some time. Rinko notices a thing on screen. What is that thing she noticed on screen? Turns out there's a floodlight, another one in the Underworld where they're like, it's broken the code. It's another Alice, basically. Not Alice like the character, another Alice like the acronym. So just get that. Forget our Alice. Just get that one. Just get that one instead. They did say it's not as good as the other one. Don't know if they were referring to Lil Pillin, because they said like, oh, his eye's gone or whatever. They were talking about code 871. So were they talking about him or? Well, no, because they couldn't have been. Because they were like, yeah, it's heading south at rapid speed. Oh, and they said it broke it because of motion. I think it's Fanatio. I think that would make sense. Like from where on the map it was and where they were heading. I think Fanatio is who it was, or who I'm assuming it was. Just based on the map that I did pause and look at. Like she was from the gate going down. So I think it was her and she's like, I will have my revenge for Bakuli, despite the fact you're pregnant and should definitely not be on a battlefield, but that's besides the point. So yeah, that happened. Then they noticed the eye seal sabotage, like code 871, that's weird, we didn't put that on, that's just getting in our way. And it's like, how long has this project been going on? Because that's been there a while. It's been there the whole, I know time, not exactly linked up for most of it. But that's been going on for a while. You should probably notice that earlier. Again, I didn't notice this. Was there something moving on the screen by itself like before when Higo noticed Kirito's brainwaves? Was there another thing like that made Rinko notice it? Or was it just she caught it out the corner of her eye? Can't remember myself. But I think it was just the blinking on the map, maybe. I can't actually remember. Yeah, so code 871. 871, right? It's a code on Yanai's jacket number. 871, I guess the Japanese, like a way you can read the numbers, is Yanai. So Yanai, his name. And they were like, oh crap, Yanai's probably the bad one. Turns out, yeah, he was the bad one. Higo got shot in the arm earlier, so that's good. He's still alive. Well, it's not good. It wasn't the head, though, so it's not terrible. It's fine, because no one died, is basically what he said. And then Yanai hates Kirito. Then we're going like, oh yeah, Kirito, he can die. Why can Kirito die? Is it because of what he did to Sugo? No, that would be too simple. Let's throw another apple in the wrench. That's not the expression, that's what I'm going to go with. So, Yanai had been contacted by Administrator, right? And he was trying to get her out and work with her. So he was the guy she was talking to. I think she briefly mentioned that at the end of Alicization Part 1, before she died. And basically, Yanai is in love with Administrator and wanted to get her to the real world. She was just manipulating him, you can tell from what he was saying. But he called her Admi? Admi? That's the best nickname you could come up with? That's a terrible nickname, But whatever. So yeah, so he wants to kill Kirito for killing Administrator. Okay, I'd throw another wrench in, why not? And, God, I feel like I've talked for ages because so much happened. Right, he was corrupted by Administrator, as I just said. And then he's like, well, I have to kill someone who should be proud of me. I don't know why he sounds like that. And then he points the gun at Higo. So, is Higo going to die for... They already did a fake-out gunshot on Higo. Are they going to do it? They're doing it again. Like, is he actually going to get shot this time? Or is he going to get saved by... Honestly, I think who's going to save Higo? It's either going to be the two of them, Kikuoka and Rinko, which is likely because they figured it out now. Or they made special mention of the second robot a few episodes ago. They're like, we can't use the second one. So I'm sort of thinking like, I don't know how realistic this is. I'm thinking like Yui or someone could like log into the robot and control it. So like Yui would be the robot and would bail him out. I don't know how feasible that is, but it just feels like Yui's not done much. And I want her to have an active part in something. And that seems the most likely, rather than her showing up in the Underworld and being a badass with that giant sword she had that one time in SAO and killed the dude with the scythe. The dude with the scythe, the boss guy. Can't remember his name. Fail fanboy. As I've been talking, my fanboyness has been going down because I've been talking for so long. But yeah, so Higo, he might be dead again. I feel like we've ended like three sections with Higo might be dead. If he actually dies, that's going to be gutting. Because like, why did you fake kill him so many times just to actually kill him? Not cool. And then the final section, God, and we thought things couldn't get any worse for the heroes. Well, I mean, Leafa and Sinon are doing alright. Everyone else, though. So Asuna is begging them to stop. She's witnessed so many deaths. She's like, please just stop. Puh tells, like, she's about to get knifed in the face with a sword. It's not a knife, it's a sword. Makes more sense. Puh tells them all to stop and is just like, stop it. He gives you a stop, you know. That's how he sounds. And so she like smacked with the sword, by the way. Like, he stopped with a slash to kill her. He just smacked her with the side of it, which, okay, fair enough, I guess. Liz feels terrible because of all, they like go around and show all the like death and injury. And Liz feels terrible because she got everyone into this. Asuna's like, no, it's not your fault. And I'm like, it is though. She gave a really good speech. Like, it is though. One person we didn't, well no, I'll talk about it at the end because it's relevant to the end. Liz feels terrible, as I said. Puh says surrender and we won't kill all of you. Sorta Leader's like, screw that, we're going to fight to the death. And Asuna's like, listen here, you little shoot. Almost swore there, that would not be good. Basically, you all need to survive, so I'm not letting you die. So do what he says, damn it, and they do. Sorta Leader looks right pissed off about it. And then Puh has a friendly chat with Asuna. He's like, hi there, I'm Puh. Nice to meet you, remember me, Asuna, Lightning Flash, I know you from back in the day. And basically, more plot twist, plot reveals. The person who tipped off the assault team in SAO way back ago was Puh. He got the assault team to kill all of Laughing Coffin just so the assault team would murder people. Which is just... They talk about Kirito, like what it did to Kirito, like in the Phantom Bullet arc, when he was like, I killed people, you know, I've got to live with that now. So they talked about that, what it did to Kirito. I'm like, everything's coming together. Like, for something so heavily arc-based, to see it sort of come together, all come back in the end. I love stuff like that. I love callbacks. They're great. But yeah, so that was a thing that happened. Ronyi then brings Kirito out, presumably because Puh was like, hey, is he here? You know, she didn't look very happy because obviously she almost got killed by Puh once. Really was worried she was going to die at one point. Also, like, Tease had like her arm cut all up at one point with Renly protecting her. So she almost died. That's, yeah. Everybody was pretty messed up at this point. Like, they're right back at the supply area now where Kirito is. Because Kirito's come out in the wheelchair. And then Asuna starts screaming, like, no, not that. So I guess Puh's gonna kill Kirito. Imagine if he just kills him. Imagine if, right, he doesn't wake up. Like, I'm not believing for a second that's what's gonna happen. Because, you know, the opening and pretty much everything is leading to Kirito waking. Imagine if he just kills him and he's like, nah, Kirito's dead now. And then he comes back with a god account. It's not gonna happen. I'm telling you now that's not gonna happen. But I've not read the light novel, but that's a hell of a prediction if that happens. No, I think it's gonna look like he's gonna like bully him. He's not gonna kill him in one fell swoop. He's gonna kick his body around and stuff. Be like, fight, damn it! What happened to the Black Swordsman? I think that was where we ended the episode, or was it? So, kind of weird. Not weird, but the whole was a person conspicuous by their absence in the like not the whole scene with Asuna and that with the people getting overwhelmed, right? It was AG. AG we never saw like her or anything. Now ordinarily you'd think, oh, he was a movie original character, he's just there making a cameo, right? Wrong. So in the post-credits scene of this episode, the SAO, like the ordinal scale server, the one that was using to run ordinal scale, the one that switches off at the end of the movie, switches back on. And because AG seems to be fine, I think we might be getting AG fighting Puh at some point. Maybe I just want AG to do more than he's actually going to do, but the fact that the ordinal scale thing turned on makes me think he's going to have something to do, because I feel like we're going to have something movie original based in it. Maybe Yuna will show up, who really knows? Maybe Professor Shigemura had something to do with it, but I'm thinking, what I'm sort of thinking is it will somehow have something to do with AG and that weird costume he was wearing in ordinal scale that like made him all acrobatic and stuff. Maybe he'll get like a variant of that so he can actually like fight toe to toe with Puh. Obviously, I think that'll end with him losing and dying. I'm just fantasy book in the next episode. Let's do it. But no, I think we're going to get something original, because I can't think why they'd have that turning on if it wasn't going to come into play. And obviously, in the original version, the light novel, ordinal scale doesn't happen because it was movie original. So, that was the end of the episode. I feel like I've talked for ages. I'm trying to see how long it is. I can't see. My computer's too far away. But we're not quite done yet. No, we are not. God, a lot was happening. A lot. Let's get on to the next part. My final section of the review. Let's do this. So, let's get on to my favourite part of the episode. My favourite part of this episode is going to be a really, not obscure, but a really vague idea, right? It's just the callbacks. I don't know what I'm going to use for the video of this section. It's the callbacks, right? So, like, the beginning, when the dude was the jellyfish monster. Later on, when it's like, yeah, I love Administrator. The stuff with Kirito's trauma and the Laughing Coffin raid being brought back up. All that stuff, like Sugo as well, earlier got brought up. I'll probably just use that bit. Yeah, I liked all the callbacks. I liked all the, you know, I think Sinon mentions Yuki at one point. She's like, give me courage or whatever, which is relevant, right? I don't think she said courage, but she should have, because Yuki translates to courage. Courage also, second opening song, that's what it's called of season 2. So, people probably already knew that, but I'm here dropping 6-year-old information. When was season 2014? I think it was 2014. 6-year-old information. But yes, that was my favourite part of the episode, just the callbacks. An episode that was good animation. Saki's slashy thing was cool too. But put that, I'm not going to put that. That's too much work. It's getting another video clip. Whoa. Anyway, I really enjoyed this episode, you couldn't tell, just because of how much was going on. Don't know how long this review is. Probably approaching 25 minutes, half an hour. Like, if that's far off, God. I have to record like 7 more reviews today, because I missed a load a few previous days. That's not important, no one cares about that. Let's just wrap this up. Okay, thank you everybody for watching this review. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please consider subscribing and stuff. 4 more reviews. I do this show every day. I'll see you next week. That's normally what I say. See you next week for another episode of this. Take care. And bye, guys.